Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Microsoft Fabric Cafe, the program of Fabric Coffee. Today, I'm very excited to have a special guest speaker, and let me just add my slides to the stage, and let's see who we are, what we do, and what will be expected in today's session. Today, August 15, I know our normal, you know, sessions for Fabric Coffee program is only on Saturdays, but it is not really easy to get hold of Reza. So we decided to have this session on, just in the working day, and I just took off only for this session, which is going to be fantastic, I think, of course. So in today, we're gonna have just some introduction. Our guest speaker, Reza Rad, and you can ask anything. There is no presentation from his side. You can ask anything related to that one. We will just manage the categories there. At the end of the session, we will have the riddles and prize. Just stay tuned and bear with us for those riddles. Who's gonna be the next winner, right? So we are at the Microsoft Learn community. So the richest place for having just enhancing your skills and just improving your knowledge. And so there you can find a lot of resources, a lot of content regarding the Microsoft technologies and all products. So if you would like to just join the learning rooms, you can enter the link below and just join whatever learning rooms that you are comfortable with, especially for Microsoft Fabric Cafe, which is our learning room for Microsoft Fabric. We are focusing actually on Microsoft Fabric only, and we will provide learning support to the Fabric users in all level from 0 to here. And so there is actually a forum for everyone to learn, share, and grow skills together. Here are the socials that you can just follow us and stay tuned for the latest updates, and also the tiny URL for joining the learning room of Microsoft Fabric Cafe. There you can just reach out to your experts and your peers and ask your questions. There is a code of conduct in our cafe. Of course, everyone is going to adhere to that. Thank you very much in advance. And in Microsoft Fabric Cafe, we serve Fabric with different flavors of data engineering, data integration, data warehousing, business intelligence, data science, and real-time intelligence. But today, it is a bit different. We are not going to talk that technical. It is mostly in the contributions in the community. So thank you very much for your support. We recently just celebrated, the 1,000 followers in our LinkedIn page. Thank you for your support, and just share it with your friends who would like to just join this lovely, community. And in August, we have other sessions. We had actually 2 other sessions with Armando and Brian. That was fantastic. If you missed them, you can just watch them on YouTube channel. And today we are with Reza Rad, and stay tuned for the next sessions. Just make sure you're gonna register for them as well. And let me just bring Reza to the stage. Hey, Reza, how's it going?
Hello, good, thank you. Good to see everyone. Good to see you. Thank you. I didn't know you take today off. Sorry about that.
not a full day, of course, but it is just an hour and a half off for just attending this session. I just told my boss, "Hey, I'm going to do an important, session." And they say, "Hey, yeah, why not?" Cool. So, before starting our session, let's just remember Leila Tati. We actually we lost her last year, and Leila was Reza's wife, and she was an honorable, actually, Microsoft MVP in AI and data platform, a book author and conference speaker. She was a mentor for many of the MVPs and the community members, just remembering her. And we never forget about her and actually her efforts in the community and how she was impactful, actually. Thank you very much. And in today's session, Reza, we will be.
Oh, I think we lost you, or maybe we lost me. I don't see you anymore, but I'm not sure if others can hear me or not. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Looks like I'm
Sorry,
Yep,
I lost.
you're back.
Actually I hit the wrong actually
That's
button.
okay.
So I'm sorry. So I'm back. I'm back. Everything is fine. So yeah, let me. My presentation just went out from here. Let me go to that slide. So today we will just have our session in 5 sections, and please ask your questions appropriately for that section, and then we can just have a better organization of our session. So I think for each of them we can have roughly 10 minutes. So let's stick to this plan. And yeah, cool. If there is anything we can ask, so let's see some questions or comments so far. Hello, everyone. I am a Microsoft certified trainer. Reza Rad is someone I'm looking up to. It is my pleasure to listen to his journey in this great session. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am a Microsoft certified trainer. Oh, is Popula? I think it was to, yeah,
Yeah,
actually
same message
second net.
from
Yeah,
you
the
different.
same. Hello from Montreal, Ricardo. Nice to have you here. And oh, I'm back.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
the time.
Okay, cool. Awesome. If there is, any question with that, and with that I mentioned, you can just put them in the chat, but we can start with the first section, which is becoming an MVP, the journey. And Reza, you have done a lot, in the community. We all know that you're really famous for your world tour in Americas, Europe, in Australia. I'm actually we are missing you in Vancouver, Canada. I know you have planned maybe for Toronto, but yeah, we are really looking forward to have you here as well. But there are always some questions how we can become an MVP or something like that. But maybe the first question, of course, it is a challengeable thing, right? It is not an easy thing to attain. So what was the most challenging part of your journey to becoming a Microsoft MVP, and how did you overcome it?
So my journey when I became MVP, like when was that now? It's like 14 years ago, I think, something like that. I was doing a lot of community forum activity, not Power BI forum, because we didn't have Power BI forum that day. MSDM forum was the one I've been working a lot on. Or there was another community, I'm not sure is it still available. I think it is still available, called Expert Exchange. That community, the Microsoft MSDN community, of course, these two, I've been doing a lot of community work, like pretty much every day, spending a lot of hours answering questions, things like that, which was also good for me, because that time I was also learning at the same time when I was answering other people's questions. My specialty that time was more around SQL Server and SSIS, because we are talking about, like, when was that? 2010, something like this. My journey started from there, and then I added other activities after that. Like, I became a speaker in the community. Like before that, I was speaking, but in Farsi language, which is back in Iran what we speak. But when I moved to New Zealand, which was also about the same time, I started doing some community speaking, presentations, user group, SQL Saturdays, a lot of SQL Saturdays those days, and actual conferences as well. Gradually moved to actual like bigger conferences, Pass, Ignite, those days with what did they call it those days? Ticket, things like that, name changes. And haven't started my YouTube thing until I think 2017, 2018. That was like pretty much late. But I've been blogging, however, since like very early, actually. When was that? Like 2006, 2007. I've been blogging since that time. So those times that I've been doing my farm activities, I've been like, if I found a solution that was helpful for someone, I would have wrote about it in a blog as well. My blog address was different though, but that was the initiation of what became Radacat later as that main blog scenario. We moved those blogs into Radacat now, so they are available even if you go backtrack all of them. So that was my journey. It was a long journey. It wasn't a like a short one, like there's a short route you can take, things like that. No, it wasn't like that. It also involved me writing books and things like that. But during all of those, I never did it to just to become an MVP, right? I knew that if I do some of those, I would eventually become MVP, or I may not, because you never know. I've just did it because I liked, especially that forum activity. I liked that quite a lot because you help someone directly. Like they have this challenge, they have this problem, you go and help them to build it, and that makes a really big difference. So that was kind of like satisfaction for me, helping others, and also at the same time it helped me to learn about something, because otherwise I may not ever face that particular situation in my work environment. So it was a win-win situation, basically. And a lot of my friends, colleagues, those times, they didn't really realize what was the point of all of that, doing all of those work for free, hours behind the desk, answering people's questions. When a lot of my friends and colleagues were doing like project work, charging a lot of dollars. I mean, we didn't have dollars that time in Iran. It was a different currency, but a lot of money for your hour. When you can do that, why do things for free? But that eventually paid off. I think the place that I am right now is satisfactory. It's a good lifestyle, I would say. I'm doing what I like, and I'm also earning enough to make a living. So all of that relates together. So not sure if it answered your question, Merdad, or not.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned actually lots of things, right? The most actually maybe nice part of that for me, it was being patient, right? And you said, okay, those days your colleague just told you, well, you are doing a free thing or something like that. You can just earn a lot of money, instead of helping others. Though it is not your things to do for earning money, but you said, okay, be patient. It is going to be paid off, of course, after maybe 10 years, after 15 years. It is going to be paid off. And then now we have Reza Rad, as an MVP, as an impactful actually one, and who is, famous around the world. And wherever we are talking about Power BI or Microsoft Fabric, of course, the first name, in maybe in top five names, your name is always there, right? And Radacat is always there. So yeah, that is fantastic. And you mentioned about to actually how you were working on the community itself, besides your work. Of course, it was challenging, right? And you had some difficulties to balance your professional work and the activities in
Mm.
your community. So, how did you balance your professional work with community contributions while working towards becoming an MVP? Of course, you were not thinking about MVP,
Mm.
from the
Yeah.
beginning, and maybe the main intention was helping others and spreading your knowledge and sharing your experiences. But how did
Yes.
you balance that?
Mm. It wasn't really good balancing act actually. Those times I had a full day job, like 9 to 5, and 9 to 5 is not really, I mean, 9 to 5 because you have to get up, go to work, and then come back from work. So there's a commute, things like that. So 9 to 5 becomes like probably 7 to 7, something like that, especially if you consider traffic and things like that. And during my working hours, I didn't do any of those community activities I mentioned, like blogging or forum activity, any of those. So that was back in home. That was when I got back after hours, things like that. So my balancing that time was basically just do this as an extra thing, totally separate. These days things are quite different because these days sometimes I do that in the middle of my daytime. Sometimes I do that when I'm in a hotel, when I'm in an airplane, and like pretty much everywhere. It is kind of mixed with my work, like because these days I'm a consultant, so things are different. Uh, it is not part of my job that I get paid for still, right? So but for me those timing are all like mixed up. I still do sometimes, let's say, a customer meeting, and then after that, I do something like this, or before that. It is not all like at the same time, but they are kind of mixed together these days. However, a lot of people who are doing community activities, they are not in that setup. Like they are not working for themselves, they are working for another company, they are working for customers, clients, and in their situation I think they are pretty much doing what I've been doing in the past, which was like do
Yeah.
your full day job. um, Pretty much all of that is the job that you do for the company, which might be related, I mean, technically, but at the end of the day, your community activity is a different thing, which I think
Yeah.
what you are doing is pretty much also the same thing, right? You might do some technical work, which then you can probably leverage that in the community, or you might do something in the community that you might leverage that in the technical work you do in your day-to-day job. But that's about it. Everything else is just totally separate thing.
Yeah, yeah. And so maybe the second thing that we can get from what we discussed is sacrificing, right? You sacrificed your time, right? Anyone who is contributing to the community, and those especially those who has a full-time job, actually a 9 to 5 one, like myself. We have to attend all of the community stuffs and the activities that we have after working hours, before working hours, and actually in the personal one. And so it is kind of sacrificing that community leaders and community actually members are performing. And yeah, it is really appreciated. Thank you very much. Maybe we can move to the next section, which is a life as an MVP and a daily routine for a MVP. uh, you mentioned some of these items. Maybe it can be a bit shorter, but can you just describe a typical day in your life, Reza, as an MVP, and your personal life? Actually, everyone has lots of things in their personal life, like going to the gym, I don't know, or walking outside,
Yeah.
and just watching movies, series. And so how do you how you can just describe it for us a bit? I'm
Yeah.
curious to know about it.
Yeah. Well, these days it's a little bit hard to find a routine in my work, but I'll try to find something. So I do pretty much every day. These are part of what I do anyway, where I am wouldn't really make any difference. So I'll do like my email work, some of the like customer email answers, things like that. So those are always part of my job. I don't really have a specific time in the day that I would do that. Usually it happens in the morning, always first thing in the morning, but it also happens during the day too. There are let's say there are other things around it, which really depends these days on where I am, like activities, exercises, things like that. It really depends. If I am in a hotel, if I'm not that day doing a full day training, which usually full day training is quite exhausting. After that, I wouldn't have energy to even just move a muscle. So if I'm not doing any of those, I might go to gym, like spend like half an hour over there. I do like walking. I go for long walks if I can do. Sometimes this can be like 20 kilometers or even more than that.
Awesome.
But that takes time. So that is usually the time that particular day I'm not in a customer meeting or I'm not in a training. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible.
So
Yeah. Apart from those, I do spend some time blogging, creating videos. So that usually involves in all of those somewhere in between. Again, that is also something I don't really have a schedule for it. It just happens all of a sudden. I have usually a backlog. I have like a OneNote that I write the ideas for the next blogs or videos or things like that. And then I just go and pick one of those and start building something on top of that. In terms of activities, I just enjoy spending time I watch movies. I watch a lot of movies, actually. Anything but horror. Get scared of horror movies. Even if it has like just little taste of horror, I wouldn't watch it at all. Eating out, I like that too, which I eat pretty much everything except seafood. Yeah. I mean, fish I can manage, but that's about it. I wouldn't go anything further than that. What else? Listening to audiobook. That is also one of the things that I like when I do those walks, so that like listening to audiobook also comes with it. I'm not much of a podcast person, so audiobooks are my thing, or music, so combination of these. And also playing music. I play classical flamenco guitar, but with traveling, that doesn't really help much. So what I've done, I actually recently ordered a traveling guitar. So that is actually coming in the transit. It should actually arrive today. So we'll see what it looks like. So that would be exciting. What else? The rest is pretty much work. So and I work.
I see most of your activities are toward your community and contribution, and in between, if you find time, you do some other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it is again comes from sacrificing, but please take some rest, Reza. We need you for longer time, of course. I in the past week I was just worried about your voice, right? When you
last
LinkedIn
week
that
was,
day, and my voice is gone. What happened to that? So
last week was a challenge.
Just take some rest and enjoy your the beaches in New Zealand. Of course, there's a question. Actually, we have some other actually attendees. Let's just have him from Nigeria. Welcome. From Azerbaijan, welcome. And from Florida. And we have a question from Andrew. How would you structure your day if you were self-employed with your own operating entity, such as an corporation?
Well, it is a little bit different from the time that I used to be working for someone else. When I'm self-employed, things are quite different. Now, I'm not these days. I wouldn't call myself self-employed because we have also others in Rad. So it's not just me. but there were days that it was only me doing, like, let's say, contract work, project work, those kind of things as a consultant. And I've been also doing community work, such as like what I do, blogging, things like that. The thing about that is that when you are a self-employed, those hours that you don't work, you are not getting paid for, right? It's just like that, zero. You get $0 for for every hour that you don't spend for your work as a contractor or as a consultant. But I never consider it as a expense. I always considered it as a investment. This is the time that you think, well, I have this 1 hour. What I can do best in this 1 hour? Can I go for a walk? Can I go and read something? Can I go and learn about something? Can I go and do this particular community work, right? That community work might involve some of the things that you do in other tasks. So it might help you to learn something as well. It might also help you to gain some credits towards getting probably another project, another customer in the future. Because like when you write a blog, when you do a YouTube video, when you do a conference speaking, all of that, eventually, like many years later down in the track, they might help people getting to know you, right? Things like that. So I would consider it that way if I want to balance those type of work. But for me, it never actually felt work. Those hours that I do my community activity, those are actually the fun part of it. Like when I go and do a user group presentation, when I do something like this session we are having right now, when I go and write a blog, these are actually the fun part of the work.
So you have a lot of fun.
Also, yeah, yeah, it is. I'm also quite a technical person. So even in my day work, when I'm doing something technical, like when I'm doing training, which involves quite a lot of technical discussion, when I'm doing some consulting, which involves quite a lot of technical thing, in all of those, I don't really feel it like work. It is a thing that I like. The part that I don't like about my work is things that are not technical, like some administration thing, booking this, booking that, those kind of things that would take a lot of time. I don't like them that much. They are draining my energy, but on this side, these kind of like technical thing, they would give me quite a lot of energy. So that is how I balance it. But I think it is easier to balance compared to the time that I was working for other companies as an employee. That was actually my experience. There are many MVPs who have a different experience. Like, just to give you an example, we do have an annual MVP conference in Seattle, usually MVP summits that we go there. So usually Microsoft doesn't cover the travel cost, because like there are thousands of MVPs. If they want to cover like flight for everyone, it's a lot of things, right? So we usually cover our own flights. We use our time and go there. Now, the time that I worked as an employee for other companies, even if they were consulting companies, I never managed to get any of my companies to pay for that flight. I never managed to get even the days that I've been in that conference as my working day. So I actually took leave, annual leave from the company. Sometimes I didn't have that leave, so I get unpaid leave to go and do that, which was quite a bit of challenging those times, because you don't have enough leave, especially if you live somewhere like New Zealand and it's like far away from everywhere, and the expenses of travel, things like that. These days, however, a lot of MVPs can manage that. I think the term MVP is much more known these days. So if you are an employee of a company, a lot of them somehow contribute. Like they might pay for your flights if you do go for that MVP summit, or they might at least consider your days as a working day, so you don't spend your leave, things like that. I think it is different for every person, depending on the culture of organization and things like that.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. That was a brief, explanation and a brief answer for your question, Andrew. I hope you got your answer. The next thing, Reza, of course, you mentioned that we need to learn, right? We need to always learn about the new things. It is the technology. It is just growing
Mm.
fast, especially for Microsoft Fabric. Every day we are seeing new blocks, right? And
Yeah.
new features are going to be added. We are just focusing on something else is, just released. So, how do you stay updated with the latest technology trends, and how important is continuous learning in maintaining your MVP status? Just for attendees information, being MVP is not a once-off reward, right? It is a reward that should be actually that must be renewed yearly, and for that
Mm.
renewing, Microsoft just look at just monitor the past year activity from the existing MVP to renew that one. And I think it was 2 months ago, or yeah, 2 months ago, that all the MVPs were renewed, and everyone was celebrating that. How do you stay updated with this one, Reza?
I use the release blogs a lot, like both Fabric and Power BI. They have this blog. Now you get also to see the Power BI announcement also in the Fabric blog. But I just basically watch both of these every day to see if there is any news, and there are usually quite a lot of things happening every week in each of these blogs. And that is the place that I would always consider as the main source of truth. Let's say all the updates, new announcements. But there are also other channels like in Twitter, in LinkedIn. I'm connected usually to many of people in the product team that I know of, or other MVPs, other people who are active in this area. So if I miss any update, I see them posting about it somewhere. So usually that also helps me getting to know that that thing is happening. That is part of it, which means how I get usually notified about something. But then there is also a part about it that I would go and try about it, or work with it to learn how this actually works, and does it really work the way you expect it to work or not. So that part is the time that I usually combine with my blogging activity, because I want to go and try it out and see how it works, and probably it comes as a blog, or sometimes I try it out, it doesn't work, I then send an email to product team saying that, well, this thing you guys are talking about still is like that. And that also good, because it creates some kind of like communication with them, a feedback loop. They use it, they improve it, and then later on at some stage it come out, which makes it helpful for everyone.
Yeah. So you mentioned that we have to just look for the data actually and information and all those releases from the source, right? The source is Microsoft, of course, and as all we know, Microsoft Learn has a massive website, and there are lots of documentation regarding all of those updates. How often Reza does check the Microsoft Learn or work with the Microsoft Learn?
I come across it usually whenever I do a search for a particular thing. Like, for example, I don't know how much the logs would be retained in this particular setup, so I'll go and do some search to see if there's any documentation about it. Usually, I search it a lot. I may not use it specifically for learning, although it is a good learning source. But my use of it usually is considered as like a reference to do some search for things that are documented, like the way that the gateway setup is documented. I have a specific question about how that particular thing goes, and I go and search about it. Sometimes, however, the documentation is good. Sometimes documentation needs some work, especially on some of the languages like DAX. Some of those documentation is usually talking about like, this is the function, it does this, and that's about it. You have to go and figure out how it works, how it does that thing, and that is a big job. Sometimes the documentation is really good. And those like Microsoft Learn courses, especially, they are actually good. Like, I think there's a Microsoft Learn course for Fabric as well. I don't know, like 10 hours, something like that. I did go through that once. That was a good content. And in addition to that, there are many other, let's say, I don't know what they call it, like a skill challenge or something like that in Microsoft Learn. Yeah. So those are good. Like, especially, for example, if there's a new technology, you want to learn about it, like you want to go and learn about Copilot, how it is used. There are lots of information in Microsoft Learn about it. So it's certainly a good source for getting information. I mainly use it as a reference whenever I have the need to search for something.
Good thing, to hear from Microsoft MVP that Microsoft Learn is your reference, the final reference. Of course, other communities, all the MVPs and all the influencers are just working toward that. But at the end of the day, the main reference will stay Microsoft Learn and those documentation. And I've just, heard several times from one of our Learn experts in Microsoft Learn, Hamid, and he always mentions that make the Microsoft Learn your homepage. That's a good. I like that sentence. Really. So let's move to the next section, which is inspiration and advices. From the questions that they have, actually, we've covered most of things, but maybe this one would be a good thing. What advice would you give to professionals who are passionate about technology but feel overwhelmed by the path to becoming an MVP?
Good question. The path to become an MVP includes a lot of activities, right? It's not only blogging, only YouTube videos, only speaking, only writing books. It's actually a combination of everything. It's a long path, and it is not something that would stop eventually, right? Once you become an MVP, you have to keep going. Otherwise, you might lose your status, right? You have to be active every 12 months. You get, let's say, reviewed again. And if you haven't done enough community activity, you wouldn't get renewed. My best advice, the thing that worked for me so far, is I never consider doing these things to become an MVP, right? I'll just do it, right? I write the blog because I want to write about that particular technology. People go and learn about it, right? I do that video exactly because of that. I do the conference presentation because I like to go there and communicate with people. It gives me also an opportunity to present myself. This is the thing that I've done, the way that I've done. I go and get some feedback from others. People did it probably a little bit differently. It might help me in my approach next time, things like that. It also helped me in some of my like public speaking, things like that, right? So I always consider this as a time that I spend to just learn about something, as a time that I spend to connect with others, things like that. Eventually, you would get an MVP status. There is no doubt about it. If you do all of those activities, it might, like, sometimes you might get it a little bit later, sometimes a bit earlier, things like that. The status itself is a great thing, of course, becoming an MVP, becoming someone within that group that would have quite a shared experience, things like that. That's a great thing. But don't do your activity just to become that, right? Do it just if you enjoy doing it, right? Because if you don't enjoy doing all of these, then at some point you would be tired of doing it and you would stop doing it. So my advice, my best advice is probably just try to enjoy the time that you spend on those.
Yeah. So Andrew just asked a question about, can you speak more about the yearly conference and how an MVP purchase tickets?
Okay, so that yearly conference is usually happening around March. It is in Seattle, in Microsoft campus, for all the MVPs. It is not something that we pay for. It is provided to us by Microsoft for free. A non-MVP cannot attend this, because for this, even us MVPs, we sign a specific NDA agreement, because anything that they explain to us in that conference are things that are about to happen. They are not probably in the market yet. They get our feedback. So that conference creates like a feedback loop to the product team themselves. Like they are saying to us that, for example, we are thinking of releasing this. What do you think? They might have like a prototype of what this looks like in the future. And then we give the team feedback. They use that feedback because we are in the industry, we are working with customers, and we know what they want. They use that feedback, they improve the product. So by the time that the product comes into the market, it's usually a better product with better features. It is not definitely for non-MVPs. And even us as an MVP, if we go and hear one of the things over there and then we disclose it elsewhere, that is violation of the NDA, and we would lose our MVP status. So that is a totally different thing. That is not like the conferences such as Ignite or things like that. That is a public conference. So yeah, basically just for MVPs.
Yeah, I see. So the next chapter that we have is, making an impact that is going to be happen by the MVP. Of course, we know that you've been MVP for 15 years, right? 14, 15 years, and you have done a lot of trainings around the world, and your books and your online content. So we actually are looking for a success story that you were involved as an MVP and you made a significant difference to an individual or a community.
Well, there are lots of situations like that. Let me think if I can if I can think of one of those. Yeah, can't think of one particular story at this time, but usually after my conference presentations, I get some people coming and saying that what you have done, what you have written in this blog, what you have done in that video, it helped me. I implemented that in my work and things like that. Also, those days that I've been doing community forum answering those, that was a direct thing. Like they had that challenge and my answer helped them immediately. Any particular success story for individual? I think I can probably success stories would be mostly around helping other people to become MVP as well. Those are things that I remember a lot. Like because when you are MVP for some years, you get to see others also becoming an MVP. So part of my journey was actually to watch people to grow in the community from being an attendee in a conference to become speaking in a conference, sometimes organizing the conference themselves, to become someone from a reader of blog, to become someone who actually write a blog themselves and create YouTube videos, things like that. And that is encouraging. That is one of the things that actually gives me quite a lot of motivation when I see people becoming like that, because I was also one of these, right? I wasn't born as a speaker. I mean, no one really does. I was learning myself. I was sometimes when I had questions, I went to forums, asked for the questions. I got answer from people. I had a lot of mentors in my path to learn about things, and I still consider them as my lifetime mentors. So when you see someone going through a journey like what you have done, and you see them becoming successful, that is inspiring for me.
Yeah.
And that is a great thing. That is really big satisfaction.
What else better than this? You can see others' success actually, and it's gonna just motivate you to do it more. They're gonna be happy,
Right.
and they always appreciate your effort and your help. Yeah, awesome. So we are at the Fabric Cafe, and of course we must talk about Microsoft Fabric And
Yeah.
from some insights from your side, Reza, maybe the question that I can ask here is let's just ask it like this. How do you see the future of Microsoft Fabric evolving, and what should the community be prepared for?
Fabric is a big product. I mean, Power BI itself was a big product. It was doing like data transformation. You could do data modeling. You could do data visualization. A lot of things with Power BI. Now that Power BI became bigger and much bigger actually, because here in Fabric we have the data integration, we have data pipelines that we had in Data Factory. We have the data warehousing experience, data engineering, data science, all of those that we had in Synapse combined with Fabric, also with that storage layer added to it, one lake, some new components such as data activators. It's a huge product. I see a really bright future for this product, because at the moment there is no other product in the market that does have this offering of all of these in one place, right? You have to combine a lot of different technologies. You might get a Snowflake as a data warehouse, use Tableau as a visualization, use Informatica as your data transformation, but you have to combine a lot of things. You have to learn about them separately. You have to do the let's say licensing of them separately. So Microsoft Fabric is at the moment in the market the only software as a service product that provides the full analytical environment. That is a big thing in the market. And what I feel is that in a few years, probably other companies would try to build something like that, because they don't have probably all of that infrastructure. They might start joining up together and coming up with a offering like that. This actually opens quite a lot of opportunity in the work as well, because if you are in a data analytics space, if you learn about something like Fabric, it helps you a lot, because most of the data analytics project you want to do, they involve in things that you can implement in Fabric. Starting working with it, I think that is the best advice I would give. Even in your work environment, if you don't have that situation to work with Fabric, you can actually go and get a trial account, 60 days, play with it, because it is different. Even the Power BI part of it, like things such as Direct Lake, is slightly different than the way we did things in import data. You would go and work with it, learn how this is done differently, or for example, what might be the challenges of doing particular things. Working with it would be the best advice. Learning about it is of course good, but you would always learn best when you start working with it. Even if it is not in your work environment, just go and do it.
Cool, awesome. So guys, if you have any more question, you can just write it in the chat, and they will be asked from Reza. I think I have the last question from my side. I'm just figuring out how the timing is going, and at the end we will have the riddles just ready for riddles and prizes. So maybe the question that I gonna have here is that, can you share any success story or key project where Microsoft Fabric played a pivotal role, in the past year, maybe, which was more controversial, actually?
Yeah, yeah. These days, actually, we have quite a lot of them, because a lot of people who come to us specifically to Reza Rad for Microsoft Fabric implementation, they are somehow a Power BI customer. So they use Power BI, and they either didn't have the data warehousing technology, or data engineering, data science, or they had it with other technologies, and they've probably spent quite a lot of different like licensing setup, things like that. There are some customers that we have got them working on Microsoft Fabric, and it worked really well, especially because now you have everything in one place. It is challenging though, because it's a new product. So sometimes you have some challenges in the UI. It doesn't work the way you expect it to work. So you have to be patient with it. Of course, the product team behind the scene are doing a lot of work to get it working. But yeah, we do have customers using it in their environment, in their production environment, and they are actually quite happy with it, which is a good thing.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Reza, for
You're
sharing all
welcome.
of these valuable, information. I guess we can just back to our slides and here, we've covered. No, really, 1 hour is not enough to learn and ask about anything. And we hope that we will have another session with you, Reza,
Thank
more
you.
maybe technical, if guys know like that, like. To have take the technical sessions, yeah, just write for us if what kind of conversation you would like to. I just want to reserve a time with Reza. It is really not easy to get hold of him, right? So yeah, uh, riddle time, guys. Are you ready for this riddle? I grow with each voice, each share, each aid. What I am. It's time for winning the exam voucher.
So people would get exam vouchers. That's the reason. That's it. I think award. Nice.
Yeah. Ganani, no, it is not MVP. No, no, it is not age. That was nice. That was nice.
Yeah, it
Oh,
can be.
each share and each aid. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna
grow
be
only
your
with every
share or
moment.
something. But yeah, that was funny. If I had a prize for the funniest answer, Andrew, it would go to you, of course. But it is out of our policy. Sorry. Any more answer, guys? Don't be shy. Come on. If there's nothing, we can just move forward with the answer. But of course, we're gonna learn, right? We can just help on this answer where we are and where we learn, actually, where we share. This last call for this question. We can move forward to the answer. So the answer is community. So in the community, it's gonna be grown when you share your when you aid someone, when you just contribute there, which is a fantastic one. So yeah, a learner, a blog, or Microsoft Coffee. So the next riddle. Through actions and passions, they light the fire. Really, this one was a bad guy. It was just written by a bad guy. Sorry for that. They are a bit hard to answer, but yeah, we must challenge ourselves, right? Come on. Another help. They they are they are actually people who just put a light spot in our tech journey. Kanani, it is not knowledge. Kanani, you mentioned that before. Oh, Kanani MVP. Awesome, 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 awesome. Yeah. Ganani was one of our winners before. Thank you for being an active member. Thank you very much for joining. And yeah, cool. Ganani, I will be in touch with you and others. Thank you very much for your participation. That was really awesome. So this recording, of course, it is not, the time of this show maybe was not that suitable for everyone who registered or other members. And it is going to be available immediately in our YouTube channel. You can always rewatch it and watch it and ask the questions in the LinkedIn below the post. You can just mention Reza if you have any question. Reza is really humble to answer lots of questions. As we can see, he is contributing anywhere. So for the next session with Kevin, just the registration is ready. You can register for that. I will see you in that session, in the Fabric Coffee session. And stay tuned for the next actually updates from Microsoft Fabric and Microsoft Fabric Cafe, and just let's join in our learning room. These are the socials. Reza, once again, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And
Thank you for your time.
Kanani sorry, Andrew, thank you for your time again. I joined it for sure. Thank you very much for joining. And Ganani, is it possible to connect with Reza by LinkedIn, please? Yeah, of course. We
Yeah.
can just find Reza. Reza is open to any connection. I know that. He's really humble, and anywhere you mention him, it's gonna be there. He's gonna answer your question. It is, the sacrificing that Reza mentioned about all the time. But yeah, thank you very much again, and again, thank you for the inspiration. And Sahar, thank you very much for joining. Reza, once again, thank you. And
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, it was really a pleasure to have you here. I just want to reserve another session with you, Reza, maybe a couple of months later when we have
hopefully
some other updates on Microsoft Fabric. Then we can just have a chat about that one thing that we missed in today's meeting was your interviews with Microsoft Fabric product team. That was fantastic. I was looking for a summary of that, but of course, it is going to be something that we need to discuss in longer, and it is just exceeding our booked hour for this session. But we will talk about those kind of stuff. Of course, in the next maybe next live session with you, we will have more updates and from Microsoft Fabric product team, and then we can discuss in detail. Thank you very much, and guys, stay tuned and enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or even afternoon. Cool. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.